So Canon strikes once again with another new camera release. How was the crippling this time around? Well, this time we got the Canon EOS M50 Mark II, an update to the ever popular M50. Is it any good? Spoiler alert, it's not. But if you want to hear my thoughts on it and my full opinion on the camera, stay tuned because I'll be bashing that camera like crazy. So the Canon EOS M50 Mark II. Well, what can I say about this camera? Other than it's pretty much just a glorified $599 paid firmware upgrade, because it's really what it is. So this is basically the replacement for the popular M50, which released back in 2017, I believe, or 2018. I don't remember now. I'm gonna put it right here. It's a very popular camera for a reason. First of all, it's small. People like small cameras. It's also quite cheap as well. At $600 or less. You can now get it used for much cheaper as well. It's also has the flip out screen, which is pretty awesome for vloggers, YouTubers, people who film themselves. So that's why, another reason why it's so popular. It also has pretty good autofocus in video with the dual pixel AF. So the M50 is one of the best selling mirrorless cameras for those specific reasons. It appeals to vloggers, YouTubers. It's very compact, very small, quite affordable. So a lot of people bought the M50 Mark I. I myself have no interest in this type of cameras. I don't really like small cameras. And the M50 Mark II is pretty much a disappointment. So the rumors prior to the camera releasing were that it was gonna have the new 32 megapixel APS-C sensor, which is found in the Canon 90D and the M6 Mark II, but apparently it's not. Apparently that was all fake. They also said it was gonna have 4K up to 60p. It doesn't have that. It only has 4K up to 24p. They said a lot of things that this camera was gonna have, and now that it's released, the rumors are pretty much fake. And this is why you can't really trust 100% the rumor sites, because most of the time the rumor sites are not really accurate. So always take stuff with a grain of salt. And I have already right here a page for the camera as well here on B&H Photo. So the camera is retailing for $599, so pretty much the same as the M50 Mark I when that one released. It's pretty much the same size as well. Here are some images from the camera. It's pretty much the same size, only with a different type of paint, I guess. It has a different coat of painting, I guess, but it's pretty much the same camera as the EOS M50 Mark I. The specs, again, it's the same, pretty much the same thing. It has the same sensor, the 24.1 megapixel sensor, same resolution, same buffer, same ISO sensitivity, same shutter speed. It's pretty much everything is the same. Except the 4K. So the 4K this time around is cropped as well, just like the M50 Mark I. It's not uncropped 4K. It still has cropped 4K, so it's pretty much worthless. But this time, instead of a 1.7 times crop, it has 1.5 times, because that really pretty much makes a big difference, right? 0.12 times definitely makes a difference. No, it doesn't. It's still cropped. It still is cropped. This camera already is cropped because of the 1.6 times crop of the sensor. It's already a cropped sensor camera, and with 4K you're getting still cropped 4K in 2020. Canon, what is this? Are you serious? 4K cropped in 2020? Come on. It still has a recording limit of 2959, of course. This was to be expected because not even the R5 and the R6 have a limit recording. So yeah, it has 1080p up to 60p with dual pixel AF, but 4K, again, just like the M50 Mark I, does not have dual pixel AF. So if you're shooting in 4K, you're still gonna have the contrast only detect AF. So the video AF in 4K is still gonna be ridiculous. It's still gonna be bad. So this camera is pretty much just a full HD camera. You're not gonna be using it in 4K if you want to have good autofocus or if you want to have the full sensor width. So the 4K is pretty much crippled in that regard. It has 120p, but it's only at 720p. So it only has 120 frames per second at 720p. That's pretty ridiculous. Pretty ridiculous. They now offer something. They now offer video in vertical. So if you're doing Instagram videos, for example, or for TikTok or stuff like that, they offer vertical video because people really need that. That's so necessary. You can pretty much do that with any camera, but it's pretty much a feature this time around, vertical video, because professional video is pretty much done vertically, I guess. Yeah, pretty ridiculous in that regard, but whatever. It has the same autofocus points, so 143 contrast detect points and 99 phase detection, so the same autofocus points. It also has the same viewfinder resolution at 2,360,000 dots. The same LCD type screen as well, and size 3-inch LCD screen with full articulation, so you can record yourself, of course. It has a built-in flash, just like the M50 Mark I. And it's pretty much the same thing, single card slot, of course. It has a 3.5 microphone plug-in, but it does not have a headphone jack, of course. It uses the same battery, so the battery life is again gonna be weak, just like the M50 Mark I. The battery life is gonna be very short. You're only gonna be able to get a little bit over 200 shots per battery, so the battery life is pretty bad. The same weight, 307 grams. It's pretty much the same weight as the M50 Mark I. Pretty much the same weight and size, so there's really no point in this camera. Pretty much, it's just a glorified firmware update. Like I said, the only thing they improved was the 4K cropped. It's now, instead of 1.7 times, it's now 1.5 times. Doesn't matter, it's still cropped. So yeah, it's still cropped. So doesn't matter if it's 1.7 or 1.5 times, it's still cropped. And they have improved the AF in video a little bit. It now offers IAF in video, I guess, but still the 4K is still gonna be contrast only detect, so you're not gonna have the dual pixel AF at 4K. So if you want to have good reliable autofocus with this camera, you're still gonna you're still gonna have to shoot at 1080p. So this pretty much defeats the purpose of having 4K. Not only is it cropped, it also has unreliable autofocus, and if you're buying Canon, you're buying it for the dual pixel AF, so this camera is pretty much pointless. Pretty much, they should have released this camera with the new 32 megapixel sensor, just like the 90D and the M6 Mark II, because that sensor is pretty good actually. It has much bigger resolution. It's also quite a lot better in low light and dynamic range. This is the old 24 megapixel sensor, which pretty much sucks for low light and dynamic range. So yeah, Canon, you pretty much screwed everything with this release. It's pretty bad. It's probably gonna sell to the vloggers and the budget people who don't want to spend a lot in a new camera. But for hybrid shooters and people who really want to take photographs seriously, this camera is pretty ridiculous. This should have been the M50 Mark I. The M50 Mark II should have had 4K uncropped. I'm not gonna go with 4K 60 because that's not really needed at this price point, especially at $600. You're not gonna get 4K 60, but you should have gotten 4K uncropped and with dual pixel AF at least, but not even that. Canon, you couldn't even give people that. So yeah, this camera is pretty much crippled, just like every Canon camera is. Even the R5 and the R6 are crippled because they overheat and they have recording limits and stuff. So Canon continues to cripple their cameras, unfortunately, because they have a cinema line of cameras to protect, and this camera is pretty much ridiculous. I think the best APS-C camera they offer now is the 90D, but it's a little bit more pricey than this camera. It's a little bit over $1,000, but the 90D, in my opinion, is still the best APS-C Canon camera that they offer. Also, another thing regarding the M50 Mark II, the EFM mount is pretty much pointless at this point. I don't know why Canon is continuing with this mount. There's not a lot of lenses available for this mount. There's a lot of low quality lenses. Most of the lenses are kit lenses as well. The only good lens they have for the EFM from Canon native is the 32 millimeters f1.4. That's the only good EFM lens they have. I guess Sigma offers the 1.4 prime trio, but still there's not a lot of lenses available for this system. You don't even have a 2.8 constant aperture zoom, so if you want to really upgrade from the kit lens, there's not a lot of choices. You only have primes. All the zooms are pretty much kit quality lenses, so you don't really have any professional lens available for this system. I think Canon really should emphasize on the RF mount. They should really release an APS-C RF mount camera instead of continuing with the EFM mount, because the EFM mount is pretty much dead in my opinion. Like I said, there's not a lot of lenses available, and the ones that are available are pretty much all suck. They pretty much all suck. There's no true pro APS-C EFM mount camera lens available. So yeah, you will be better off just buying a camera like the Canon EOS RP, for example. It's just a little bit more expensive, but you get a full frame camera with a lot more lens selections and better ergonomics as well, because the ergonomics in this camera really sucks. I wish Canon would release an EFM mount camera with bigger ergonomics, like the 90D, for example, in the shape of the 90D or the EOS R and the R5 and the R6. But this camera is pretty much very small. The ergonomics suck. It's only good for putting on a gimbal, I guess, or for recording yourself, for vlogging and stuff. For that it's okay, but for professional photography and video, it's pretty much sucks. And yeah, I don't really see this camera selling that well, because it's pretty much just a glorified M50 Mark I with a firmware update. So yeah, sucks to be you, Canon. You really suck. You should have released this camera with much better video specs and a new sensor as well. But unfortunately, this is Canon. Well, what can you expect, right? So yeah, guys, the Canon EOS M50 Mark II, pretty ridiculous release. Probably the worst release this year when it comes to cameras in terms of upgrade. I mean, not even the Sony A7C, not even that camera is worse than this one, I guess, because even though that camera kind of sucks as well, at least it had something compared to the A7 III, like the flip out screen and stuff. This camera does not really add anything new compared to the M50 Mark I, so there's really no point in getting this camera. You might as well just get the M50 Mark I used and wait for the Gen 3 M50, or just wait for the new EFM Pro camera if Canon ends up releasing that one. So yeah, that's it, guys. That was my take on the Canon M50 Mark II, should I say. Pretty ridiculous release, basically just a glorified firmware update, like I said. And yeah, pretty ridiculous. I don't think it's gonna sell that well, and unfortunately Canon is still continuing with this crippling. All those rumors that we had at Canon, and Canon rumors, were pretty much all wasted. Pretty much they were mostly just fake. Also, this camera does not have IBIS. It does not even have IBIS. So yeah, even for vloggers, it's still not gonna be that great because of the lack of IBIS. So yeah, that's it, guys. Thank you for watching this video. If you want to see more, you can always visit the channel to see more camera related talk videos. If you want to support my work, to see more, you can hit the subscribe button, and I'll see you guys in the next one. So, UNHOLY-OMEGA, signing out, and Canon, yeah, you suck, Canon. The M50 Mark II sucks, and it's pretty much dead on arrival. So, yeah, I don't care about this camera. Thank you guys for watching.